even if you plan to bug in and everything is going well for you, the time may come when you may realize that it's safer to bug out. I'm going to give you 3 tips to get you ready for that before it happens. Okay, this list in the first place is going to assume a few things. First, it's going to assume that whatever's going on is localized to your city or your city/suburb, and it assumes that you have a properly maintained and properly set up vehicle for this. And I'll be covering that in a future video very soon, the things that you need to do to set up your vehicle. So let's go ahead and get on with the list. The first thing you're going to need is bug out bags and bug out buckets. First, I'm going to start with the buckets. These are just buckets with lids that are, say, rodent-proof, waterproof. 5-gallon food-grade buckets is what I recommend. You can get these from bakeries for like $1 with the lid. And you know they're food grade because they came with food in them. They're rodent resistant, so they're not gonna, the rodents aren't going to chew all the way through it without you noticing. They may start to chew on the rim of the lid or something, but you'll see that in advance and replace the lid and get rid of the rodent problem. In that, you're going to put food, whatever you're going to need with you. So things that you don't want to put in a backpack or haversack or whatever it is that you're taking with you, you're going to go ahead and put that in that bucket. And then that bucket should be kept in the trunk of your car or in the back of your SUV, the back of your pickup truck, the back of your van, whatever. And, you know, use your imagination when you're thinking about the things that you can actually put in this bucket. Your first aid supplies, your food, toilet paper, other toiletries, things like that, that don't necessarily need to take up space in a backpack. Next, we're going to talk about the bug out bag. This is still step 1. This is my go bag. It's also my get home bag because they're both the same mission for me. This one is a Mystery Ranch 3-day assault pack. But I got to tell you, don't just go out and buy one because it may not be right for you. This one is right for me. It fits. But you know, as I'm aging, I needed something with a little bit better support for my back and a little better suspension system. But that may not be right for you. Maybe what's right for you is maybe this. Heck, I've had this thing for over 20 years, and I still use it today. I keep all my camera equipment in it. But this would do well for most of the items that you're going to want to keep in your bag. And this is just a school bag. I carried it for 6 years of college, and I've used it for other things ever since. Another option, maybe you don't need all that much, is a haversack. This is just a haversack. It's just a bag. One of the really awesome features of this bag, this haversack, is that it can be used as a water container. I can take the contents out of this, walk down to the river, and get 2 gallons of water in this and carry it up here. None of it will leak out. Not much of it anyway. It's waxed canvas. Very inexpensive, very functional. Now, things that you're going to want to put in your bag, in your pack, you're going to want to have first aid kit. You're going to want to have your food, some manner of food. You're not going to be able to keep a whole lot of food in a backpack, but you can keep some. Water purification and some water. You want to keep some water. But you know, you want some form of purification. So along with all of my stuff is usually, you know, I don't want to dig into the pack and get it out, but there's a water filter in every one of my bags. Sometimes I have one on my person. Sometimes they're in my EDC. Not always though, because it just depends on where I'm going. And I had this with me today, so I didn't bother to put a filter in my little EDC bag here. So you're going to want to have a knife. You're going to want to have some kind of a container, and that container can be as simple as this, because this will work with your water filter. This smart water. You have to make sure that the thread type, this one I just found out here, this thread type right here is the same that's going to fit into your filter. And I know that the smart water filters fit the Sawyer filters perfectly, and they don't cost you anything. And once again, I can go walk right down to the lake down there, fill this with water, and drink right out of the bottle out of the other end of the filter, and I'll be just fine. And I've done it many times. You're going to have some form of shelter, whether it's a space blanket or a tarp for tarp shelters, a poncho. Any one of these will work well, but you're going to want to keep something in there for cover. You're going to want to have a cordage kit. You've got to have a cordage kit. So that can be as simple as a 100-foot roll of paracord, or maybe just a roll of bank line. Like, I believe there's a roll of bank line right here. Right here. When you're buying bank line, buy braided, do not buy twisted. The twisted stuff is a menace to society. You're going to want your fire starting kit, and whether that's just a bunch of Bic lighters and matches, or whether you have a more advanced skill set where you can use ferro rods and friction fires and things of that nature, but you should definitely have Bic lighters. Bic lighters are my go-to for fire starting. They're in every one of my packs, they're in every one of my kits, and they're on my person at all times. And I don't smoke. Okay, you're going to want to have, depending on your skill level, you're going to want to have a compass with you. Because if you have to exit your vehicle and head off into the woods and be able to get back to your vehicle, you could get in trouble real quick in the woods. You can get lost. So shoot an azimuth to where the direction you're going, and keep going in that direction until you're where you're going to stay for the night, and then you use the back azimuth to get back to your vehicle. Very good woodsmen have died on the Appalachian Trail and Pacific Crest Trail because they got 200 feet off of the trail and could not find their way back to it. You can look this up on, there are stories on YouTube and many documentaries about this. This happens. So don't be proud. Carry a compass. And maybe some form of communication. If you're an amateur radio operator and have a ham license, then maybe you're going to want to carry a ham radio. Maybe one that does ham radio and GMRS and all the other bands. There are a lot of bands that you can use. Even just the cheap Baofangs, the UV5R will work in a pinch. I don't know how much they are now, but probably still about $30. And it'll do just about everything you want it to do. Okay, now when it comes to bags and packs, this pack fits me. It's designed to be modified. I can move this up or down based on my torso length. It's got lumbar support and everything, and this will adjust. Everything adjusts on it. But you have to buy one that's going to fit your body. You couldn't just buy this one and think you're going to be okay. If you're like 6'6", you're probably going to need a bigger pack. If you're 5'2", you're going to need a smaller pack. And when you're picking a pack, most people do this backwards. They go to the store, they go to Dick's Sporting Goods or REI or something like that, and then they let the salesman talk them into a pack. And of course, the salesman is commissioned. They're going to talk you into the biggest pack that they have that will fit your torso. Don't do it that way. Figure out the things that you're going to put in your pack, the minimum things, and then buy a pack that fits that and gives you a little bit of additional space for other things that you might want to add in later. Okay, that's going to take us to movement time. Movement time. When do we want to move? When is the safest time for us to leave our home and bug out? Okay, when I was in the military, we all woke up at BMNT for stand to. If you're a veteran, you probably remember this. Every training exercise that you had a stand to every morning. And you woke up before it was light and you started your vehicles and you got ready to fight war. Okay, that's called BMNT. That's before morning nautical twilight. So we don't want to leave that. And it's not because that's the most dangerous point, but the most dangerous point for us is going to come sometime after that. And we want to be off the road, if we can be, by that time. And that's the time that's really easy. It's before sunrise, but the sky is starting to blue up a little bit. So you'll know it when you see it. You can also find out when it is. Just Google it, figure it out. It's going to be different every day by a couple minutes, but that's okay. So what we want to do is you want to leave sometime after, so I would say 2 a.m., which is when most of the whatever is going on, the people that are causing the ruckus are probably done causing a ruckus. And they're either somewhere drunk, somewhere getting drunk, or they're in bed asleep. And you want to leave between that time, and I'm saying 2 a.m., and BMNT. That should give you enough time to get out of the danger area. You're going to get off the X, and you're going to go start moving toward your safe location. It's not guaranteed to be the safest time, but I'm guessing it, and all I can do is guess. Everybody's area is going to be different if anything is going on. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is places to go. Okay, so where are you going to go? You're in your vehicle, you're exiting this densely populated area. The first thing is to figure out where is the closest, less populated area. So what direction? First is families and friends who don't live in your area. So maybe you have family in the country, maybe you have some friends out in the country, things like that. Maybe you have a pre-planned vacation spot that you have. I have camps that I can go to because, well, I own properties that are perfectly suitable for this. BLM land, so Bureau of Land Management land. It's yours. You pay for it. It's managed by the federal government. It's federal land. Near me is Mark Twain National Forest, which is massive. It has the 11-Point River. It has plenty of places to go, just be, for however long you need, till things calm down. You're only allowed really to stay there for 14 days, but you can stay in a spot for 14 days and then move to another spot for another 14 days. So that's an option. The idea is to get away from the trouble. You're getting off the X, you're going somewhere where you can figure out the next steps of your plan. They're probably to go back home once things calm down. Hopefully you have a radio. You've definitely, in the assumptions part, I said that you have a vehicle that functions. It has a radio. You'll know what's going on in the world as long as the radio stations are still functioning, and I'm sure they will be. So what else? What kind of other tips do you have to share? I want to hear them. I love to hear your comments. The comment section, you guys have a lot of wisdom. Okay, in my next video, I'm going to give you 10 places where you can sleep in your vehicle in relative safety. Until then, stay safe.